who's stuck in traffic, so we're going to wait just a few minutes if that's okay. We need them to have quorum. So if you've already signed in, thank you for your patience. If you haven't signed in, please sign in. And we will get started momentarily. call the meeting to order. Unfortunately, the chairman is not here today, and as you remember, last month, we had a resignation by the vice chair, so we're going to move some things out of order. I need to open the meeting up for an election of vice chair, and so at this point, we will take nominations.
I nominate Ms. Hayes.
Okay?
Second.
All right. Will you accept the nomination?
I will.
Any other nominations?
There you go.
I'm closing it for nominations. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? All right, congratulations. I will pass this to you. And what we need to do now is go ahead and do roll call, pledge of allegiance, and then we'll swear in witnesses.
Rob Wolfram. Dudley Bates.
Here.
Lori Patton.
Here.
Don Peterson.
Here.
Dennis Warren. Jane Hayes.
Here. We'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you could remain standing, I'll swear in anybody going to testify today. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear affirm the testimony you're going to give is the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
You know what, I can do this. You can help her. So that, since we started a little later, I'm going to go ahead and help the chair. So what we're going to do is we're going to revise the agenda, if the board will allow us, to hear respondents who are present first. And so I'll read the case number. It is 19-68. Then there's item 1969. So 68 is on page 2. 69 is on page 3. Item 2173 is on page 5. Item 2182 is on page 8. Item 2183 is on page 9. Item 2184 is on page 9. Item 2129 on page 12. Item 2163 on page 13, and item 2164, which is the same respondent, on page 13. So if someone can make a motion to approve the agenda as revised.
Motion to approve agenda as revised.
Second.
So the motion was by Ms. Patton, second by Mr. Bates. All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Okay, that motion passes. So if we can get the respondents up here on page 2 for 1968. I think we have Willie Blatcher and Shamars Bratcher. And this is Narcissus Bratcher Ayers. And they also have a second case, which is item 1969, same respondents, and that case is on page 3. So you want to confirm when they start
It's all yours, Mrs. Hurd.
Good afternoon, Officer Hurd with Seminole County Sheriff's Office Code Enforcement, South Region. For the record, I'm going to submit a copy of this presentation to the clerk as Exhibit 1. This is case 2168 CEB. It's a repeat violation. The property address is 1151 Pine Street in Altamont Springs, Florida. It's not showing. Okay. The property owner is Narcissus Bratcher Ayers. The repeat violation charge is useless materials or any items no longer fit to be used, including but not limited to yard trash, paper, cardboard, metal, etc. My initial inspection on this property was June of 2018 with the Code Board order of April 25th, 2019. Compliance date May 21st, 2019. The repeat violation August 21st, 2021. Follow-up inspections August 30th, 9/29, October 26th, 1/13/22 of this year and this morning, and the materials remain on the property. These photos were taken by myself on April 24th, 2021. They're engine parts, tires, metal. September 29th, 2021. September 29th, 2021. October 26th, it's furniture and engine parts, 2021. January 13th, tires, pallets. Next photo. Furniture, the posting where I posted the property, a trailer with trash on it. This was taken on January 13, 2022. The suggested recommendation is based on the testimony and evidence presented in this case. It is determined that the respondents, Narcissus Bratcher Ayers, they are the owner of the property at 1151 Pine Street, in possession of control of the property, and in repeat violation of Seminole County Code, Chapter 95, Section 95.4 is defined in 95.3A. I'm asking the board to, that based on the findings and facts, conclusion of the law and order issued on April 25th, 2019, the Code Enforcement Board issued an order imposing a fine/lien in the amount of $13,200 for 66 days of repeat violation from August 24, 2021 through and including August 28, 2021, and that the fine be increased to $300 per day and continue to accrue at $300 per day, continues if the violation continues or is repeated after October 28, 2021. Thank you. That concludes my presentation on this case.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Officer Hurd? Okay, thank you.
Did you want both cases or one
Oh,
at
do you
a
want to
time?
do that?
Let's give them an opportunity to address this case first.
Yes, let's do that. This is your opportunity to make a statement, and I need for you to confirm that you were sworn in. You were here for the swearing in, okay? And state your name for the record, please.
Hey, Willie Bratcher.
My name is Shamara Bratcher.
Okay, thank you. This is your opportunity to address the issues that Officer Hurd illuminated for us.
Sir, do you mind moving the microphone
True enough,
closer?
some of this stuff, it was there, and like, middle ways, like this right here, this truck thing, that didn't belong to me at all, none, but I got rid of that there. And them tanks never belonged to me when people come out there, cause for the last year and a half, 2 years really, I mean, you yourself, like we come in here, you set your court date back, you throw your court back a whole year. I've been going through this pandemic thing as well, and I got 4 kids, and it seems like every time you turn around, somebody's sick. You go to 3 different high schools, 3 different schools, you come in, but I ain't gonna use that for an excuse well at all, 'cause I'm on disability as well. But all that stuff, like at the dates, that's different dates here and there, stuff is not there. But it's on the last date, what you see there, like the cars, you got my Mercedes in there. It is there, that truck front end there, wasn't there right now, and I got guys on it right now cleaning that mess up, you know what I'm saying? But you started back like on a day of $300 a day, a year and a half ago here and there, whatever. When do it stop or something here and there? Because, I think waiting on fines, all that mess, it can go in that little chair right there you see in the front yard at Santa Claus, just for Christmas. A kid sitting in that little chair right there and playing in that there. That trailer there been sitting there for probably about a year and a half here and there, but it ain't had nothing on it.
Excuse me, sir, I need to ask you a question. Do you understand the violations that Officer Hurd outlined?
I see exactly what she outlined and showing to me now, but that ain't there. But that trailer there, though. Yeah, I see that. And I don't think she'll be in violation of anything.
And you understand that she's recommending to this board that there be a fine imposed to you of $13,200?
I don't understand that there. That's not happening.
Do you intend to take care of that fine?
No, I do not. I mean, no, that's not, no, I'm not standing up to that fine at all, why, whatever. You got pictures dated back here and there. You come here and make a case. Like I said, you come try to make a case with these things right here. What you trying to go to $13,000 from the 8th month to the 21. Then
Okay.
you got something in 22. Stuff ain't there. And then again, when do you start the fine? You come by here and you assess stuff here and then the yard, why, whatever. Now that's gone. If something else may come there, why, whatever. I don't even be out there. Most
Okay,
times.
I'm going to open it up to our board members to see if they have questions for you.
I think
I
Ms. Hurd
mean-
wants to say something.
Oh, sorry.
The corrected fine on this case, and actually the next case per the clerk, is $31,200.
31,000.
And then.
You gonna start something?
Hold on one second.
Crazy.
Hold on, let her finish.
Okay.
And then the furniture that, I took pictures this morning, they're on my computer. I didn't put them in this case because I had already done it. Some of that furniture and stuff is still there. And I just wanted to show you, this is a recurring, this happens quite a bit with the Bratchers. I have a picture where we went in and cleaned their property completely, the county, I'm sorry. Went in and took everything off their property.
That wasn't our
And
property,
since-
Ms. Hurd.
And since, Ms. Bratcher, and since then, there's been times where more rubbish gets accumulated on the property. They are well aware that they're not supposed to have that type of, those types of things. If that chair's been out there in the rain and in the weather for a year, it's no longer any good.
You can't
So-
put a,
Okay,
you can't
let
put
me,
a
sir,
stipulation
you
on
need
what.
to stop.
Huh?
Okay, we're going to give you an opportunity. You need to listen, and I have some questions just so that we're all on the same page, okay?
Yeah, you're on a good
Officer-
page right now, but okay. Go ahead.
Just so that I understand what's happening. This was, we were at some point in violation.
Correct.
They came into compliance. The board reduced the fine to a certain amount to be paid by a certain time, and they failed to do that. Therefore, the fine went back to the original amount, and a lien was filed
Okay,
on
you
the
going there.
property.
Oh, that
Right.
was going to ask.
Okay?
Yeah.
All right, so you need to stop, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Everyone needs to hear what's happening, so
Okay.
we're all on the same page. So this is a repeat of a prior order, which the county can bring within 5 years of an order being in place. So my question, though, just so I'm clear, the
Yes, ma'am.
property is not in compliance?
No, ma'am.
Property is out of compliance. What you're seeking is a repeat fine for the time period of 66 days from August 24th through October 28th?
That's incorrect.
Okay.
This has been never updated
Okay.
on the agenda because that stopped at October 28th was when this case.
You go right now.
Okay.
So it has to be updated to reflect the days. They become 156 days
Okay,
at $200 a day, which increases it to 31,000.
okay.
And so what you're seeking is after whatever time we give them as a reasonable time to bring it into compliance, that the fine increase.
Actually, from today's hearing. If you can look at the screen, this is when the county went in and cleaned up their property.
When was that?
This is when the county went in and cleaned up their property
But when was that?
in 2017. And it's been back and forth since then with different items. We took tons of stuff off of their property at that time. So the Bradgers are aware that they're not supposed to keep those types of items on the property. So it's not like it's something new for them. And the reason it went into compliance is because the county went in and cleaned it up.
All right, let's hear the second case, and then they'll
Okay.
have an opportunity to present additional information.
Okay.
So this is item 19-69, same property, all parties have previously been sworn.
Okay.
Dorothy Hurd, South Region Code Enforcement Officer for the Seminole County Sheriff's Office. For the record, I'm submitting a copy of this presentation to the clerk as Exhibit 1. This is case number 1969, CEB, with the property owner is Narcissus Bratcher Ayers at 1151 Pine Street. And the repeat violation charge is any vehicle including but not limited to any parts thereof which are unusable as a form of transportation due to mechanical, structural insufficiencies unless the vehicle is in a legally permitted garage or carport. Initial inspection was June 18, 2018. The code board order was 4/25, 2019. Compliance date May 21st, 2019. Repeat violation August 21st, 2021. Follow-up inspections, my last inspection was this morning, and the inoperable vehicles remain on the property. This photo was taken August 24, 2021, September 29, 2021. And when I posted the property on January 13, 2022, and that's a picture of my posting, and there's another vehicle there. Now, I did talk to Miss Bratcher this week, maybe Tuesday or Wednesday, and she said the vehicles were gone. So when I went by there this morning, the vehicles are still there. They said that they can drive the Volvo, but Mr. Bratcher said not today. I think that might have been Wednesday when I talked to him. So when I leave here today, I can go by their home, and if they can drive the Volvo, that'll take care of that one. But that red Mustang that's still there, that one's definitely inoperable. So the suggested recommendation by the code enforcement officer is based on the testimony and evidence presented in this case. It is determined that Narcissus Bratcher's heirs, they are the owner of the property, located at 1151 Pine Street, in possession of control of the property, and in repeat violation of Seminole County Code, Chapter 95, Section 95.4, as defined in 95.3E. I'm asking the board that based on the findings and facts, conclusion of law and order issued on April 25th, the Code Enforcement Board issue an order imposing a fine in the amount of $31,000, I believe it's $200, for however many days from August 24th through and including August 28th, and that the fine be increased to $300 per day as long as the violation continues, or for if it's repeated after October 28th, 2021.
Okay,
Or-
so we're clear, these dates are not correct.
Correct.
Okay, so-
The fine amount is not correct, she said, because the system did not update. I would like to increase the fine amount to $300 per day.
So what's happening, just again, that's one, so they were originally noticed to be here for October of '21, and we didn't have a meeting, we didn't have quorum. So they've had since October now, November, December, January, additional 3 months. And so that changes to 156 days, a fine in the amount of $31,200, and then if it doesn't get corrected, and you can provide a reasonable time for that fine to increase to $300 a day if you choose.
Thank you, Officer Hurd. I have one quick question. You mentioned a lien earlier. What's the status of the lien?
The original one was not paid, so I believe it reverted back to, if I'm not mistaken, to the original amount, if I'm not mistaken, right?
They're still outstanding.
Still outstanding? Okay. Okay, thank you.
Can I go now? Can I speak?
You may speak if you stick to your side of this story.
Sure. But go back to these pictures, okay? Let me stand up, let me instruct, where she instruct, let me instruct. You go back here and there, you come out where the code.
He can't,
And
he's got to be on the, sir, I'm sorry, you have to be in front of the microphone.
Well, you come, she said that way, the county came out and they cleaned up. True enough, they came out and they cleaned up. She called DC up on me, said my kids in violation. Somebody dumped a whole bunch of glass out there. It's a road. See, that was a road.
It's not even our property.
The county went to clean that road out. My yard was always like that there, but now, the race car right there, that's $80,000 race car. You know what I'm saying? Right there, I race. I'm putting the motor in it, blew it up. Every time she come around, they ain't running now. I grudge race, I race cars. But last couple weeks, I'm saying, I got guys right now, that yard, nothing like these
that right
pictures
now.
that she give me. A picture tells 1,000 things. And how can you start a fire? That fire never gone. How you gonna start a fire talking about 31,000, 13,000 I wave here and there because you know the deal. Now she digging up something here and there. Now I come here to be nice, see why, what, see what I'm saying? You know what? That's wrong. That's wrong. I can't show you about the pictures in your face here and there. And you know what? A whole year go by, yard clean, everything wild, whatever. Your code enforcement days, you set it back another month, set it back this month, set it back another month. 9 straight months here and there. Also, you come by and take a snapshot. You know what? I think Mr. Brash got a garbage can out there somewhere. You know what I'm saying? But when it's nice, you don't take them pictures when it's nice. It ain't like that, man. Don't
Excuse me, I need you to speak one at a time
but it's not like
so we can understand you.
It's not like that. Now you don't dug up, she don't dug, she's saying I ain't going against her. She's on the job. But it don't look too good now. You dig up something 2017, weighed off, 18, weighed off, 19, weighed off. Now you want to join it in here, there, and look at the past, repeated this and that, whatever. How someone gonna want the 31,000 when we came to court, supposed to came to court, whole year and a half, and you keep putting it off, putting it off,
Ms.
putting it off,
Bratcher,
putting it off, putting it off.
what would you like, sir, we heard. What would you like to say, ma'am?
The car, the Volvo can be.
Everything in that yard run, but that car, that my race car right there, I just brought a
She's
motorsport right now.
speaking.
Huh?
She's speaking.
The yard looks nothing like that
The yard
right
does
now
not like
at
it, man.
all. And I could drive my Volvo. She knows that. 'Cause that's my car, I drive it. I drive both my Volvos.
He called this morning, talking about Mercedes sitting in the yard, want me to
So you
drive it.
can give them additional time before
our car,
the
gonna
fine
bring the wild
increase,
widow,
but you
and she
have
doesn't
to
sit in the
make a
yard like it's
decision
not supposed to
on
run.
repeat
I'm talking about,
Repeat violation. Officer
she's so
Hurd?
nice sometimes.
Excuse me, the Officer Hurd has something to say, please.
I'll meet them out there this afternoon. When we leave here, I'll meet them out there so they can drive the Volvo and the Mercedes.
Okay, that takes care of the Volvo, but weren't you there this morning?
I was there this morning and the red car was still there.
Yeah.
But one more question.
And the rubbish and stuff that was in the yard on those pictures, it's still there.
All right, okay, look here, watch this. If we go there right now, that rubbish there in that yard there right now, we ain't hear no more of this mess, right now. See what I'm saying? We go there right now, call home and take a picture, y'all. Take a picture. I'm gonna show you something, see what I'm saying?
We're gonna call time on you. You've made your point, and now we need to discuss our decision.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, you making a decision.
So I need you to listen.
That's the same.
Do we have any questions from board members?
It's a pandemic. I got no money.
Yeah, money for what, meaning about it?
All right, so the hearing is closed. Now it's your opportunity to ask questions.
Okay, yeah, I have a question. Just to be clear in my mind, you had Volvo sitting there that runs.
Yes.
You got a Mercedes sitting there that runs.
Yes,
They
sir.
bought my car and tagged insurance on them. They right. But watch this though, what I'm saying. I mean, who put the stipulation on something, what is junk and what is not, here and there, whatever. That worth more than anything out of all the cars put together in the yard. I race cars. I ain't got no money to buy a garage or something here and there. I fix my stuff right around here and there, but like pandemic was going on here and there. My kids got sick about 7 times out there here and there. Had to go on quarantine almost a whole year. Been locked up in the house a whole year.
Can't even do nothing.
Doing virtual stuff here and there. Well, I can't come outside, so I want to come here and there, and all this panic rock just fall on me now.
I don't know, what about the rest of the rubbish that's in the yard?
It's not there.
It's not there,
It's
sir.
not there, sir.
It's not there.
No,
It's
sir.
not there, sir.
If she come right now, it's not there.
Right now, it's getting right now. You
Not
may
what
see
she
a
got
pile. You see a
pictures of.
pile. It's a pile right there. Everything else is clean. It's cleaned up. The pile of guys, and then the Volvo itself. The Volvo in general. I think it said the guy supposed to been come back and pick it up a while back.
that's
But now
not-
you see your
So
picture
what-
of that
okay.
truck front end that's on there.
When was it cleaned up?
Now the truck front end that you see there in front of the Volvo. Now you see the Volvo on the picture today. The truck front end ain't even there.
It's
That's
not
why I
even
say
there.
if the truck front end been gone. But
When was the rubbish cleaned up? When was the rubbish cleaned
road's
up?
been being cleaned up for the last 2 weeks. Been being cleaned up out of there.
Okay, so it's all clean there except for those 2 cars and the
Yes, sir.
hot rod?
Yes, sir.
All clean.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, no. We just need to pick, there's a pile right there, they burn some leaves and stuff right now in the yard here now.
Do
Yes,
you
sir.
guys understand that one of the issues is not a particular recliner or a particular car, It's you have to maintain the property in a
Okay.
certain state.
Okay.
And you cannot, do not interrupt me, because I think I'm being helpful, and you might like what I have to say, but you have to be
Yes, ma'am.
quiet long enough to let me say it, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Do you understand that it's not one particular car or one particular recliner? You can't have that kind of stuff sitting out in the yard per the Seminole County rules. You're a resident of Seminole County, you own property that is subject to the rules, just like all of us do. Okay? So, do you understand that? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so with you understanding that, if we gave you, say, 30 days to convince Ms. Hurd that everything's the way it's supposed to be and that you're not going to be a problem for her anymore, and she comes back and tells us that,
Yeah.
is 30 days enough time to get that done?
Yes, ma'am.
Then, when the opportunity comes, I'm going to motion to give them 30 days to convince Ms. Hurd that this is the last time we're ever going to see them. And if not, then the requested amounts go into play.
Are you ready to make that motion?
That is my motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion was made by Ms. Patton and seconded by Mr. Bates. All in favor?
Right, so just so that we're clear, what you're doing is you're continuing. You're going to do a continuance. You're not going to make a decision today.
To the next meeting,
Yeah.
and when the next meeting, Ms. Hurd comes back and says, this place is awesome and they're not going to be a problem anymore, then we'll
You can address the fine
address
and
the
the lien.
fines, and we will express our appreciation appropriately to them when that happens. But if she comes back and says that nothing's changed,
Question for you, I understand what you're saying, ma'am. Question,
Okay.
you saying 30 days, get comply. What about this bogus fine you talking about? That goes away? Or you talking about, you just stopping something, because I ain't gonna agree to what you, I'm trying to get an understanding of what
you
you're saying.
need to agree to clean your yard, or it's not going to get any better.
What you mean? My
Period,
yard,
the end.
my yard, ma'am, I'm not trying to, it's a good deal, I thank you
Got
for
a
my
motion
30
on the
days
table.
doing this.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
He's got a question.
Yeah, I'd like to amend the motion to just have a continuance for the 30 days and push it back, get it done, and at that point, we'll address the punishment or the fine situation. You understand?
Yes.
Okay, but
Technically, what's happening is the fine continues to accrue
Right.
until she does an affidavit of compliance, okay? So if in
Yes.
30 days they're in compliance, the fine will have stopped, and you'll have an amount, and you can address it at that point once he's in compliance.
You understand that?
Yes, sir, I understand that, but once again, now, you got 3 or 4 different fines up in there.
He talking
You
about
don't see that- Let me tell you
31,000.
something. You got 3 or 4 different fines, that one $13,000 fine you talking about, that would have been waived off in there, cause some bull stuff in there too. Now you talking about, you can pick it up, you can throw it in there, and you gonna start a fine like talking about 31,000 here and there, whatever, then we're gonna come back and we're gonna address that amount. No, I don't agree to that, but I'll come back and address that amount, we address that amount, but on 30 days, and I can have
Sir?
how she may wanna
Sir?
live in
Sir?
her own town, or whatever, see what I'm saying?
Sir,
They're not listening to
sir,
Yeah.
that amount got waived off on the condition that you pay a smaller amount in a certain period of time, and you did not do that. And when that happened, it reverted back to the old amount. So nobody's making up a new amount. You dropped that ball a few years ago.
Mr.
You
Bratcher,
know, was no fine, didn't have no
Mr.
fine.
Mr. Bratcher, how much are you prepared to pay?
I'm not prepared to want to pay any of it because we shouldn't have been in fine and jeopardize that because, like I say, under conditions that things are.
Okay.
The COVID we're in right now. I was sick.
Okay, we're through
But I'll clean it up,
talking.
though. I'll clean it up for you, though. Maybe that the rest of it.
Ms. Bratcher, I want you to understand, okay? Do you all live on that property?
Yeah.
Yes, me and my 4 kids, my husband, yes.
Okay, listen, I want you to listen, okay? There's already a lien on the property from the last cases. This is a new situation, okay? So this one is pending because of this repeat violation, all right? What the board is telling you is they're going to give you 30 days to make an appointment with her so you can do a walkthrough and try to bring you into compliance so that the fine stops, okay? Once you're in compliance, this board can consider the fine amount and the lien, okay? There's no second lien yet. I just want you to understand that, Ms. Bratcher. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. These 2 cases are continued for 30 days.
Okay.
To your next meeting.
Thank you.
So what did we decide?
You continue it to the next hearing, the next hearing. And
Making sure.
yeah, and then you can address, if they're in compliance, the fine amount and decide what you
Right.
want to do with it. Or if it's not, then you can file the lien.
We can really have a motion on that amended idea.
Okay, let's go ahead and do it now.
Yeah.
You need to, the
So
second of the
I need Ms.
motion.
Patton to withdraw her motion, Mr. Peterson to amend her motion so we can vote on it.
Okay,
Okay?
I'd like to make an amendment to her motion that we continue this for 30 days until we find out if it's in compliance through the officer. And if so, then the fine stops and we can address the other items.
The fine stops accruing.
Once they're in
That's correct.
compliance, yeah.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. So we have a motion and a second. Any questions or any more clarification on this?
The next meeting is February 24th, 2022. Sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 So it is moved to February 24th.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
Okay.
you, Officer Hurd.
All right, the next case on your agenda is item 2173 on page 5, William and Lisa Gore. Lisa Gore is in chambers.
Are we allowed to put a timer on public comment? Officer Hurd?
Dorothy Hurd, South Region Code Enforcement Officer for the Seminole County Sheriff's Office. For the record, I am submitting a copy of this presentation to the clerk as Exhibit 1. This is case 2173 CEB, William Gore and Lisa J. Gore. Property address is 400 Ridgewood Street in Altamont Springs. Violation charge is useless waste material or any items no longer fit to be used, including but not limited to yard trash, paper, cardboard, metal, lumber, glass, etc. Initial inspection on this property was March 1st, 2021. Two notices to the respondent, April 6th and April 27th. Compliance date 4/23 and 5/14. Several inspections, and my last inspection was this morning, and the rubbish remained on the property. This photo was taken on March 1st, 2021, as I was walking up to the front porch, to the door to knock on the door. These were taken on April 5th, 2021, March 17, 2021, 10/6, 2021. This is where I posted the property, and there's still like a chair and stuff under there. This, you can see, yeah, that's on 10/19, 2021. Again, where I posted it on the side of the property, fence sections that had fallen down. And this photo was taken by alert on January 20th of the backyard. So it's got stuff back there. They were just out doing a routine drive-by and took a picture for me. Based on the testimony and evidence presented in this case, William and Lisa Gore are the owners of the property located at 400 Ridgewood Street in Seminole County, in possession or control of the property, and in violation of Seminole County Code, Chapter 95, Section 95.4, as defined in 95.3A. I'm asking the Board of Order respondents to correct the violation on or before midnight of February 11, 2022, by removing any useless materials or items no longer fit to be used, but not limited to yard trash, paper, cardboard, metal, lumber, etc. If the respondent does not comply with this order, a fine of $100 per day be imposed each day the violation continues or is repeated after compliance. Thank you. That concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Officer Hurd. Are there any questions for Officer Hurd? Just so I'm clear, there is no fine recommended at this time. Just you're looking for compliance.
Right. The fine would not start until if you all set a compliance date.
Gotcha. Okay.
Or after that date, I'm sorry.
All right.
So
Okay.
find out who's sworn in, who.
You both, you're sworn in?
He's not.
He's not.
He couldn't hear you guys from back there, so he
Oh.
wanted to be up here.
If
So
you could speak up a little bit, I'm having a very difficult time hearing.
I understand.
Sorry, I'm
Have her state her name.
You state your name, please.
I'm Lisa Gore, owner of the property.
Okay.
I actually have a question. Did you happen to go out there this morning, ma'am?
Yes, I went by this morning, and I just noticed the fence on the side was still
It had
leaning
fallen?
up there. No, it wasn't down, but it was just leaning up there in pieces, but I didn't see the backyard.
Okay. We actually have been working on cleaning up the backyard. We do a haunted house each year for the kids, and it consists of a lot of pallets. Yesterday, we actually took a lot of them out of the backyard, but I didn't think it was a problem because it was in the backyard. So I've been asking her, because the first couple of notices she said she sent or had given to me, I have not received anything in the mail from code enforcement. I get these from from her posting them on the property, and I did speak with her once, and I had asked her what she was what she wanted cleaned up, what in particular she was looking for, so I could get it cleaned up and get it taken care of, because I'm trying to be in compliance. It's my first house. I'm trying to work on things. You know, it has been a tough few months, but still trying to keep everything together as best as I can.
I understand.
We're haunted house, unfortunately, it has taken us this long to clean up because of holidays. I lost my daughter, COVID, still having to deal with stuff with my boyfriend, my son, so it's been really tough and trying to keep everything together.
Do you understand the nature of the violation? Do you understand this is a county ordinance?
That everything needs to be cleaned up and looking properly? It should be, and I understand that, which is why when I did meet with her, I asked what she wanted cleaned up, because at that point in time, I wasn't going through all this stuff. My family, my parents had just moved in, my brother has moved in with his 2 daughters, you know, trying to keep everything together, but I had asked her what she wanted cleaned up. She specified a few things, so I cleaned it up. It took time because there was a lot of things, okay? And I understand that. But when we had come to court, when it was ordered in October, we had gotten everything cleaned up. And we had the haunted house set up in the backyard. Everything was great. And then we had taken pictures at that point in time, but then came in and they said, oh, well, it's been changed. I didn't get the notice that the date had changed until I got here. I'm not receiving anything in the mail.
So who lives at 289 Lorraine Drive, Altamont Springs?
Nobody. I don't even think that address exists. 289 Lorraine Drive. I live at 400 Ridgewood Street in Altamont Springs. That is my mail, that is where I live.
Then you
The
need to go-
only
Go ahead.
address that should be on there is 859 Shioa Circle in Winter Springs, because that is sometimes used as my mailing address.
So property records show that 289 Lorraine Drive as your mailing address. So if that's incorrect, you need to go check with the property appraiser site. So there's been no violation of due process because the county just simply has to go by what's in the property records. And so that's where the mail is going.
And actually, I've sent it to her address at 400 Ridgewood. I've sent both because I did a DL search just to make sure, because some of the mail came back. So I always check, and I sent it to 400 Ridgewood, and I've told Ms. Gore that too. So I've got copies of the ones that I sent to 400 Ridgewood. So she's got, well, they went to that address. I don't know if she got them or not.
Let's put the recommendation back up so you see what the recommendation
Yes.
is. they're giving her until February 11th or a fine of $100.
Does she have a copy of this language?
She gets a copy of the packet, yeah.
Okay. So there's no misunderstanding about what is or is not yard trash? It's in detail on her recommendation. So the question is, do you think by February, what was it?
11th.
February 11th.
That's basically 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks. Can you have it cleaned up in 2 weeks so that there is no fine?
I mean, I do have pictures that I took this morning before I left the house. It does not show the side of the house where she said the fence pieces were, but I have cleaned up the yard. I didn't know the fence pieces were in violation, but I can take care of that probably this afternoon or tomorrow. But otherwise, I want to know what in particular, what else needs to be cleaned up.
It's in the
Your
list.
backyard. And I'll check the front. I could meet you out there next week, it's not an issue.
Okay.
Just to show you.
Please, I would, if I could give you my phone number so you can call me so I'm there, please. I'm trying to be in compliance. I really do want to be in compliance. I've actually started working on the backyard because I want to make it beautiful for me to sit on my back porch.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Gore. That's what we want to hear. Appreciate that. I'm going to close the public hearing at this time to see if the board has any questions.
Is February 11th enough time? Do you think, if you can meet with Ms. Hurd in the next few days?
Honestly, I hope so. I don't see any reason why I wouldn't. I mean, I'm starting a new job on Saturday, but
Okay.
Motion to accept recommendations.
We have a motion to accept staff's recommendation. Do we have a second?
I'd like to amend that
Okay.
motion if I could.
You need
Is
to
it
talk to
time?
her.
Okay. Hey, can we move it until the February meeting? And that gives them a little more time. If she's not going to be able to meet with them until next week, that knocks them back a whole week.
Well, she says she's already working on it, and she's got it pretty much done.
Said she was good with the February 11th.
Yeah, she said she's good with it.
I just got to get a couple more pallets out of the backyard and do something with the fencing.
If you feel good with that, I feel good with it too.
Okay.
So she needs a second.
So I need a second.
Second?
Then there's a second. There's a motion and a second on the floor. Are there any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Fine.
Oh, did you have a question? That was I, sorry.
That was an aye.
Sorry. Okay, so you understand, you have until February 11th to just get it cleaned up. And if there's a question about whether something should be thrown out, it's on this list that she's going to give you.
Okay,
Okay? Thank you for coming today.
thank you.
And thank you for your attitude.
All right, next case on the revised agenda is item 2182. This is on page 8. Mariano and Adriano Alicia. Kyle King, on behalf of Lakeview Loan Servicing, is in chambers.
I thought this was 2183, is that right?
There's also 2183, which is on page 9, and 2184, which is also on page 9.
Okay, thank you.
Officer Hill, are you presenting?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Officer Hill, Seminole County Sheriff's Office, Code Enforcement, East Region. I am submitting a copy of my PowerPoint to the clerk as Exhibit 1. This is case 2182 CEB Mariano and Adriana Alicia, located at 331 East First Street in Seminole County. Violation charge is Seminole County Land Development Code, Chapter 30, Part 70, Section 30.1349. All fences shall be maintained in their original upright condition. My initial inspection was June 29th, 2021, with notice to respondents on July 2nd, 2021, and July 21st, with compliance dates of July 16th and August 8th, 2021, with follow-up inspections on July 20th, August 11th by myself and Alert, October 14th, January 14th was the day of the posting, and my reinspection was yesterday. The violation of the dilapidated fence remains on the subject property. So these are some calls from service by the Sheriff's Office to this location. Currently, the property owners are deceased, and inside of the residence have been identified as squatters. And so these are the multiple calls that have been going out to this location. These photos were taken on my initial inspection on June 29th, 2021. This is in the backyard up along the county easement. Is the one on the right. This one, same location, the backyard, a county easement, leaning over the county easement. These photos were taken on August 11th, 2021. These photos were taken, my first posting for the October hearing was October 14, 2021. These photos were taken on the same date. These photos were taken on January 14, 2022, the day of my posting. These photos were taken yesterday. Suggested recommendation is based on the testimony and evidence presented in case 2182 CEB. It is determined that the respondents, Mariano and Adriana Alicia, are the owners of record located at 331 East First Street in Seminole County, in possession or control of the property, and is in violation of Seminole County Land Development Code, Chapter 30, Part 70, Section 30.1349E. And it's further recommended the Code Enforcement Board issue an order for the respondents to correct the violation on or before midnight of February 14, 2022. In order to correct the violation, the respondent must repair or remove the dilapidated fence from the subject property. If the respondent does not comply with the order, a fine of $50 will be imposed for each day the violation continues or is repeated after compliance. This concludes my presentation.
Do you want to take the other two?
Yes, ma'am.
Since same property.
This is case 2183 CEB. Respondents Mariano and Adriana Alicia. I'm submitting a copy of my PowerPoint to the clerk. It's Exhibit 1. Officer Hill, Seminole County Sheriff's Office, Code Enforcement, East Region. This property is located at 331 East First Street, Seminole County. Violation charge, Seminole County Code, Chapter 95, Section 95.4 is defined in 95.3A, rubbish, useless, waste material, any items no longer fit to be used. My initial inspection was June 29th, 2021, with notice to respondents on July 2nd and July 21st. Compliance dates were July 16th and August 8th, with multiple follow-up inspections, including yesterday. The results of my inspection is the violation of rubbish remains on the subject property. These photos were taken on my initial inspection on June 29th. This photo was taken from the county easement on June 29th, 2021. Photos were taken on July 20th, 2021. These photos were taken by Alert while on patrol on August 11th, 2021. These photos were taken by myself on October 14th. Same day. These photos were taken on the same day, initial posting for the October hearing that was continued. And these photos were taken on January 14th in my posting. These photos were taken yesterday. Suggested recommendation is based on the testimony and evidence presented in case 2183 CEB. It is determined that the respondents, Mariano and Adriana Alicia, are the owners of record located at 331 East First Street in Seminole County, in possession or control of the property, and is in violation of Seminole County Code, Chapter 95, Section 95.4 is defined in 95.3A. It is further recommended the Code Enforcement Board issue an order for the respondents to correct the violation on or before midnight of February 14th, 2022. In order to correct the violation, the respondent must remove all the rubbish and debris from the subject property. If the respondent does not comply with the order, a fine of $50 will be imposed for each day the violation continues or is repeated. This concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Officer Hill. We have one more, please.
Officer Hill, Seminole County Sheriff's Office Code Enforcement East Region. I'm submitting a copy of my PowerPoint to the clerk as Exhibit 1. This is case 2184 CEB, respondent Mariano and Adriana Alicia, located at 331 East First Street in Seminole County. Violation charge, Seminole County Code, Chapter 95, Section 95.4, to find in 95.3B, uncultivated vegetation. My initial inspection was on June 29, 2021, with notice to respondents on July 2nd and July 21st, 2021. Compliance dates were July 16th and August 8th, 2021, with multiple follow-up inspections, including yesterday. The results for the violation of uncultivated vegetation remains on the subject property. My initial inspection was done on June 29th, 2021. Photos were taken on July 20th, 2021. Photos were taken on August 11th, 2021. Photos were taken on October 14, 2021, with the initial posting for the October hearing. These photos were taken on January 14, 2022. Photos were taken on the 14th. These photos were taken yesterday. The suggested recommendation, based on the testimony and evidence presented in case 2184 CEB, it is determined that the respondents, Mariano and Adriana Alicia, are the owners of record located at 331 East First Street in Seminole County, in possession or control of the property, and is in violation of Seminole County Code, Chapter 95, Section 95.4, as defined in 95.3B. It is further recommended the Code Enforcement Board issue an order for the respondent to correct the violation on or before midnight of February 14, 2022. In order to correct the violation, the respondent must remove all uncultivated vegetation in excess of 8 inches in height from the subject property. The respondent does not comply with the order, a fine of $50 will be imposed for each day the violation continues or is repeated after compliance. This concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Officer Hill? Mr. Bates.
On all three of these cases, it's noted that these people are the owners of record and are in control of the property. How are they doing that if they're deceased?
It's still in their name, and it's a foreclosure property. So I have been in touch with the preservation company on and off, and they had no plans on doing any evictions, even they do know from the multiple calls for service out there, their plan was not to start eviction until the pre-sale of the house.
Did they say why?
Yeah.
They're still the legal owners.
Correct.
They're still the legal owners according to the title.
But what kind of action can you take against dead people?
You can lien the property. You can lien it.
Okay, and then what?
Then it gets paid when the foreclosure happens. Or they have to, or the bank has to clean it up, or the lien, the fines will continue, and it'll hurt their foreclosure sale.
I hear what you're saying, but
The clerk has something to add.
Once the property is foreclosed on, it wipes away the lien and we only require administrative costs to be paid.
okay.
But what initiates the foreclosure at this point?
Once the certificate of title has been filed.
Okay. Any other questions?
I'm ready to hear from the bank.
Yeah, I know. I think the floor is yours, sir. Please state your name for the record.
My name is Kyle King. I'm here on behalf of Lakeview Loan Servicing. Pleasure to be here. This case is and currently has an ongoing foreclosure case. The case is not completed yet. So the process works until there's a final judgment. And in that final judgment, there's a sale date. It's a public sale. We don't know who's going to purchase the property at that public sale. Once there's a new owner, then that new owner would have a certificate of title issued to them. And at that point, we have a new owner that can evict people. There's some occupants in there. And there are times where there are foreclosure cases where the property is vacant and we're able to bring the property into compliance to preserve the collateral for the loan. But in this particular case, there's occupants in there. It's potentially dangerous for anyone to interact with them. We don't have any right to evict them at this point. We're not the owners of the property. We're just prosecuting a foreclosure case. So we're not the owners and we don't have any power to evict anyone. The only person that has the power to evict is the owner. The current owners are deceased, as you heard. Once the foreclosure process is completed and the property is sold and there's a new owner, that new owner could evict the occupants that are currently squatting in the property.
Do you know when the people died?
I could look it up, but it would take me a while, but I think,
Do you know when the people
I think
died?
one of the owners died before the foreclosure started, and another one died perhaps during the foreclosure process, but don't quote me on that.
When did your foreclosure process start?
It's a 2020 case number. I don't know the exact date the complaint was filed, but it was 2020.
Okay, and so why don't you have a final judgment yet? If they're dead, I assume they're not fighting you.
That's correct, but there's also, in this environment in 2020, during the COVID pandemic, foreclosures across the country are being put on hold for various national foreclosure holds, eviction holds. And then there was another hold placed on the property due to the deceased borrower. So we've had delays due to that. We did have a foreclosure hearing set for March 22nd, and that got canceled due to another COVID hold. So we're trying to move the case forward. We're actually pretty close to the finish line, but there's been various holds, largely based on COVID, that have stopped us from finishing the case up by now.
I have a question. If there are squatters on the property and there's a crime committed at that location, who's liable for any of that?
I couldn't answer that
The bank?
question. I don't see how the bank would be liable. We don't own the property.
It's not going anywhere.
Why are they even allowed to stay there?
Yeah, why?
Because nobody is in a legal position to kick them out. Because
Including the sheriff, the courts, whatever?
Correct. Once they take up residency, you have to go through the eviction process.
the only people to evict them are the owners, and the owners are
Really?
dead. And the bank is saying that their foreclosure is taking so long because of COVID this and COVID that. I'm skeptical. I think the bank could have aggressively pushed their foreclosure through, but they haven't, and I have my own personal opinions on all that.
And here we are.
Here we are.
So-
My motion is to accept all three recommendations post haste.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on the floor. Are there any questions or further discussion? Well, all in favor of Ms. Patton's motion?
Actually, I'd like to amend my motion.
Okay.
My amended motion is that what was the recommended time to get in compliance on
February
this?
14th.
The 14th.
I would say tomorrow, because nobody's going to do it. Let's just get it done. Let's just start
Accruing some fines?
accruing some fines.
Okay.
And then maybe the bank will then be motivated to see if they can get their final judgment and their sale done a little bit faster than they appear to be anyway.
Are you good with that amendment?
Yes.
Yes?
Second.
Okay, second. And so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Just to clarify, what was the dollar amount on the fines per day? They're at
$50
$50
a day
a day
per
times
On all
issue.
three? Okay. On each one. Thank you. Appreciate your time today.
That's,
January 28, 2022 is
Correct.
the debt. Okay, all right. Next case is item 2129 on page 12 of your agenda. Michael Schnorr, this is a lien request.
Counsel, that was not directed at you. It is directed to put a fire under somebody else's little motivational pot. I appreciate it.
No problem. Have a great day.
Thanks for
thank
coming.
you. Ooh. Officer Hurd?
Dorothy Hurd, South Region Code Enforcement Officer for the Seminole County Sheriff's Office. This is case number 2129 for Michael Schnorr. The case was originally heard by the Code Enforcement Board on July 21st, 2021. With a compliance date of August 6th, I filed an affidavit of noncompliance on August 9th, 2021, and then an affidavit of compliance was filed on September 1st, 2021, based on the findings and facts, conclusions of law and order on this case issued on July 22nd, 2021. I'm asking the Code Enforcement Board to issue an order reducing the fine to the administrative costs totaling $373.65 and require these costs to be paid within 30 days, or the fine will revert back to its original amount of $5,000 and will constitute a lien on the property. Thank you. That concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Officer Hurd. Are there any questions for the officer? Mr. Schnorr,
Yes.
it is your opportunity to speak.
Yes, I would like to speak to this. It was always my intention to be in full compliance, but I need to explain why it took so long. First of all, when I was first informed of the violation, I was told by the original compliance officer, which isn't Officer Hurd, it was some other lady, but she said, we won't really start counting until the eviction moratorium is done, and Governor DeSantis hasn't said that. Now, that was the end of 2020, I believe, and I never really found out what that was going on, but I do want to explain what happened in 2021. On January 18th, I had a stroke, and I was put into the hospital. And I found out while I was in the hospital that my heart was failing. And so I had a heart operation 2 days later. That was very debilitating. And post-operation, they did another test and found I had massive aneurysms in my brain. That was caused by extremely high blood pressure because of my heart problems. In the meantime, by March, they found out that the pacemaker they put in to fix my heart was not operating properly and was actually damaging my heart and making it weaker, and making me weaker because I was not getting a proper blood flow. On May 2nd, I had brain surgery, massive brain surgery. I mean, the entire half of my skull was removed, and they put clips in my brain to control the aneurysms. And I was told by the neurologist that when someone has a brain surgery of this sort, the standard procedure is to keep them in the hospital 9 to 10 days to see if they have any after effects. And I did have quite a few after effects. There was bleeding in the brain. The entire side of my right side of my face was all bloody and bruised. And
Sir, I hate to interrupt you, but this is detail that we don't need.
Well, I'm just trying to tell you what happened.
I got it. Again, I'm the friendly. Let me talk, and it might end up well for you, okay?
Okay.
The question is, we're offering to let everything go and just ask you to pay some administrative costs of $373.65, and the question is, how long do you need to be able to do that?
That's going to be a problem because I obviously have a lot of hospital bills. I haven't been able to work at all last year because, like I said...
How much time do you need? How much time do you need?
Can you waive part of it?
No, the original amount was $5,000. It got waived down to $373. That's a pretty nice
Can I make
tip.
partial payments?
Sure. How long do you need to pay the whole thing, though?
Maybe 6 months because I'm trying to pay hospital bills. You see, after the brain surgery, I actually passed out and broke my leg and fractured my tailbone and was in rehab for 3 months.
Again,
I'm just trying to say, I always wanted to be in full compliance.
I understand, And so I'm trying to help right now. Is there any way
The one
we can
car was-
make it due in 6 months?
You can give them as much time as possible.
So you can do it in 6 months?
I hope so. I really do. I haven't been
Okay.
able to work.
Lori, you can waive it completely.
Do you promise to never, ever do this again?
What, have brain surgery?
Have trash in your yard?
Well, it was just 2 cars.
That's if they don't run their trash. It's big
Well,
trash.
actually, one of them did run.
Sir?
I'm going to explain, ma'am, please. Just let me...
I am getting ready to ask the board to waive every penny.
Okay.
Will you please work with me?
I promise it will never happen again. I no longer, the only car I have left is certainly operating. It's registered. It's got a tag.
And that's going to be it?
Yeah. I don't plan on getting any more.
Waive the fees on his promise to never, ever do it again.
Yes, ma'am. That's in, and I just want to state,
Sir?
Second.
We have a
I just
motion.
took care of you.
We have a motion and a second. Or any other further information, any questions? No. Hearing none. All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thanks for coming.
Mr. Schnort, we're very sorry about your past year and hope 2022 is much better for you.
I do too. I just want to state, for the record, that the one car was removed on August 12th and the other on August 14th. So I only missed compliance by a few days. And I was
Sir?
only-
Okay, good to
I
know.
would zip it and say thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Have a good one.
Obviously, I have a little trouble getting around.
That's all right. Take your time.
All
Take your
right,
time.
well, thank you. Y'all have a great day.
Thank you, you too.
Okay.
All right.
All right, the next
The
one.
last 2 matters are for the same respondent on page 13. Gosh, I can't see this number. Yes, page 13, special request under item 2163 and 2164, Benjamin Hamilton.
Mr. Hamilton, have you been sworn in? Okay. You can have a seat, please, while the officer makes her presentation.
For his.
Or his. Oh, sorry. Officer Bavaro, my apologies.
Been called for it. Actually, Officer Bavaro, Seminole County Sheriff's Office Code Enforcement. I believe the special request was that Mr. Hamilton requested it, so if it's okay with the board, I'd like for him to go first.
Oh,
Can you tell us what the background cases are, though?
No, let him,
No?
let the respondent
Okay.
go first.
okay. In this case, you are going to go first.
Sir?
I need you to speak close to the microphone, please, so we can hear you.
You want me to go first?
This is your request. It's on the agenda per your request, correct?
All right.
Okay, what would you like to tell the board?
I don't live here. I have this property in Florida. I live in Texas. The property, my father owned it. He passed away. I've been taking care of that property since then. I took up the property taxes, the past due. I've also taken care of all the maintenance on the yard and everything else that's going on at this point in time. What is going on now is that there is illegal dumping happening every other month or every other week on my property. I talk to Officer Bavaro. He'll call me, say this, we need to have this done. I'll get on the phone. I'll call people here that's Better Business and things like that. I call them, I say, hey, I have to get this property cleaned off. Officer Bavaro then came in and said that this need to be done. First thing they come out their mouth is saying, I need half money down or something like that. I pay them. They go out and start doing the work. I ask them to start sending me pictures and photos so I can give to him and also call him and tell him to let him know that they're out there. I've done that throughout. By the time they get finished or once they've done or done something, I call Officer Bavaro. I say, they're out there working, they're doing this now. He either say yes or no. I came June of this year to get the house in order. The roof was pretty much messed up. The carport was all tore up. But I had someone that was working on the home inside. He was in the process of moving in. Then he backed out. I said, fine. I ended up paying him a little bit of money to work that he did. Right after that, more dumping started coming. Officer Bavaro called me. You have to get this taken care of. I'd been in front of this board before. done the same thing. I don't live here. I don't dump. And I keep telling them, I am not dumping this stuff on my property. The violations that they're giving me is accumulation of dump causes it allowed to be accumulated, dump causes to be allowed, then vegetation. I understand the vegetation, and again, anytime that he calls me, I have that taken care of. I came here again, like I say, in June, to have the house remodeled, rebuilt, and then everything else, to add additions on. I stayed here until August 20th. I told him I was here, and I told him I was doing all that. I didn't see him. I've cleaned that property up. I took care of everything. I took pictures and photos. I've even sent them to her. I sent over 50 emails, 50 pieces of evidence saying that I'm keeping compliance up. I sent it to her. She has it in emails. I've taken pictures, photos, saying everything that I've done, everything that's been done. The 20th, I left here because my daughter had to go to college. I had to take her to college. I came down here, like I said, from the 30th of June to that day. The 22nd, the 20th I left. It was either the 21st or the 22nd, I get a call and say my house has been burned down. I just put all that work into it. Now it's been burned down. I've just came back again. October, was it 27th? You all had a meeting. They told me to come. Again, I live in Texas. I have to drive. I got here on the 27th. You all canceled the meeting. I didn't get the mail. I didn't get any email. I got it the day before. And if I'm driving, I'm on the road, so I don't get the email. I got here, big note on the door, canceled. Come back December 2nd. I said, I can't do that. I talked to Ms. Bush. I said, I can't do that. I have other obligations. Now, just to give you a little back of me, I have a brother that just had cancer December of last year. They took his throat out, took his voice box out. I had to go take care of him. After I took care of him, I came right down here to take care of this. Again, I have always tried to be in compliance. Anytime he called me, if I've talked to Ms. Hughes, I've always taken care of everything. And then I get this again. And I'm like, this is not me. I'm not dumping this stuff. So I go over there. I had another guy. I called. I say, hey, can you take care of this? Sure. But I need it down. I need half. I need this. I give him the money. Nothing happened. I sent her emails. I talked to him. I talked to everybody. I'm like, what am I to do now? I get here this morning to go check out the property. More dumping. You have the city out there right now cleaning off some of my property because some of the neighbors complained about the dumping, as I've been doing ever since I've been here. I'm saying it's not me. I'm not here. So every time I'll get a call from him, I have to pay $3,000 and $4,000, $5,000 to get this property cleaned. I don't have that type of money, but that's every 2 to 6 months. He calls me because somebody is dumping. I don't have that. Again, I'm in Texas. Anytime you all call me, I show up. I try to stay in compliance like the guy here before. I am a stickler for a rule. Every time I come here, I'm ready to get it done.
Okay, thank you for being here today, and we're sorry that it got canceled in October. It was out of everybody's control because we didn't have a quorum. We weren't allowed to meet.
I'm fine with that. But again, like I say, I'm taking compliance, and when I come here to take care of it, and I understand what these people are saying, they may take care of it within the time that you all come and contact us. But by the time you go out there, something else could have happened, or it could have started over again. Like I'm saying, I get it cleaned off, and then there people come and dump again. Then there's the violation again. But I had just cleaned it off.
Can I ask why you wanted to go first today?
I didn't. He just told me to.
So this was a special request at the
You all
respondent
told me-
specially requested that he bring this matter, and I believe his request, if I'm not mistaken, and correct me if I'm wrong, is to waive all the accumulated fines?
Correct, everything.
So I believe that is his specific request.
I see.
To come in today and have all the fines waived.
Thank you. And what's the status of the property right this minute?
It's burned down. Right now, today, there are
Yes.
people, you had the county people out there cleaning it off. Whatever people done dumped. I guess, like I say, some lady had called.
It's a vacant lot with
It is now. Again, it was vacant, but the house and everything else was structured with sound, just the roof and the carport. But everything else, I came in, like I say, in July, and I took out the permits for electrical, plumbing, roofing,
Okay, it
everything.
doesn't matter now.
I understand.
We are where we are.
I understand, and that's what I say. I've been trying to comply, and then when I do the things, I come back and then I get this letter saying that you're going to charge me 100 to 150 a day, and I'm like, man, I just did this.
So your request, if you could speak it into the microphone, your request is what?
I've taken care of it.
You want to have all the fees
Fees and
waived?
fines waived, yes.
Officer Barbaro, do you want to address the issues?
I just have a few questions before I get into my presentation. Mr. Hamilton, I enjoy our conversations on the phone together. I have very good respect for you, and I sympathize with your brother's situation. You alluded that in June you were in compliance?
No, I said I came here in June, and then in July, yes. I have pictures, I even gave them to her. I sent them all to her.
You also alluded that any time that I would call, you would communicate with me.
Correct.
Regularly.
Whenever you call or if I call,
Right.
yes, if you call me and I answer the phone, yes.
So I guess my question is, if you stated you were in compliance around June, why would you call the clerk and not me?
What do you mean? What do you mean?
I'm sorry?
What do you mean by me calling the clerk?
So
and
you
not
said
me?
you notified the clerk via email that you sent her pictures of you being in compliance,
Correct.
but you never notified me.
Yes, I did. I called you and I have them on here. Like I say, you never called me back. I sent emails. I sent her, like I said, I got everything and photos with the dates on them. And I've called you. Again, I left several messages. I even say that here, I can even pull it up on my phone, some of them.
Okay, let's.
And again,
Don't
this
use
morning,
the phone.
I got you,
What we're
but
here-
this morning.
I need to, hold on, because we're all over the place. So this came in as a special request for additional time to comply and to waive any accrued fines to date. The matter came before the board on September 23rd, 2021, with a compliance date of October 7th, 2021, right?
Sounds about right. I don't have the
Okay.
wording in front of me.
But what I'm hearing is there's still no affidavit of compliance in the file.
Correct.
So the fine continues to accrue.
Correct.
Okay, that's it. That's all you're here for, is just simply to find out if you want to give them additional time to come into compliance or not.
So just to refresh memory, this was the property as up here. I mean, we have extensive criminal incidents occurring from the structure fire. We had another subject fleeing law enforcement into the structure, so it appears to be a haven for criminal activity.
And that was arson? The fire was arson?
Yes.
Direct that to Mr. Hamilton, yeah.
Yes.
So if Officer Hill, if you could go to the second to last set of pictures. So this was an inspection done on 9/19 of 2021. Mind you, the case was opened on 12/3 of 2020. We did have a prior case on the same property for similar violations, but was not able to be filed for a repeat due to the 5-year restraint. So we had to open up a new case on the property, which started in December of 2020. Of course, we all know what happened. Things have been delayed. This was an image on 9/9 of 2021 when it posted it. This is another image on 1/21 of 22, where, as you can see, not much, if any, progress has been made during that time frame. In addition, there was actually another boat dumped illegally on the property. I guess what I want to get across is signs of disorder lead to more disorder. If the property is never being maintained, and I respect that you live out of state, but if it's a reoccurring issue on this property, and if we don't get it cleaned up, there's just going to be additional dumping. I did go by this morning, and I noticed county personnel cleaning up what they say to be the right-of-way on Mr. Hamilton's property. A work order, I guess, was generated on 1/11 of 2022 from a resident in the area. Resident contacted Commissioner's office reporting trash consistently being thrown on vacant lots. It's currently requesting a street cleanup and renovations to prevent the issue from reoccurring in the future. The county went out there and inspected on 1/12 of 2022, inspected and found litter on both sides of the road on Bungalow, as well as bulk of the trash bags full of leaves, branches being dumped, which appears to be from a landscaper on the other side of 22nd Street between Jones and Williams, indicating Mr. Hamilton's property. So I asked the county who made the request and why they're out there cleaning up this, what they say to be to the right-of-way. Of course, the county staff said, we got the work order to clean it up, that's what we're doing. But according to the Seminole County Code, Article 2, removal of nuisance from property, Section 95.11, it is the property owner's responsibility to ensure that the trash, I'll read it to you, is the duty of each owner of any real property, lot, tract, parcel, or land reasonably regulate and control effectively the growth and accumulation of matter, substance, and materials on any real lot, tract, or parcel of land on any portion adjoining the public right-of-way between the property, lot, tract, and parcel of the roadway, regardless whether the road is paved or not. So I do sympathize he lives out of state, but it is one, a haven for criminal activity, which we can tell by the law enforcement reports. He admitted to the illegal dumping being there, and it is actually, in my opinion, his duty to remove all the debris that is accumulated on the property. So that concludes my presentation for now.
Thank you. Yes, sir?
What criminal activity besides the dumping? I see a stolen car, and you said that somebody ran into the house.
There's a report they have there of every
Right,
time
that's a stolen car. That has nothing to do with my property. He may have brought it over there.
It said subject was arrested fleeing law enforcement. Seminole County Fire Department responded to a structure fire.
And the stolen vehicle was recovered at this location.
Okay, again, if they're dumping there and I'm cleaning it up as it goes, if I clean up today and I say, Mr. Officer Burrow, the property is clean, he don't go out to the Friday and they done dumped again. What am I to do?
Sir, Mr. Bavaro is not your secretary and his job to call you and tell you when your property's in disarray.
Yes, ma'am. And when he tells me it's in disarray, I get it cleaned up.
But it's not his job to constantly call you and tell you. It's your job to constantly maintain it. If you are in Texas, why are you owning property in Florida that you're not capable of regularly maintaining?
So I can't own property while I live in Texas that I can't own?
You may own property as long as you maintain it.
Is it your intent to continue to own that property?
Yes, ma'am. And it was my intent to fix the home up, to have it renovated. And again, like I say, I sent her the emails. I sent pictures of it being in compliance as of August 21st of 2021.
Is the structure livable now?
I have a guy coming out tomorrow to come and tell me if the structure is feasible, to where I can try to get it back livable. Because if they said if I can use the frame still, then that'll be less cost on me than tearing everything down and building it from new.
So did you have insurance on that property?
No, ma'am, I did
Why
not.
didn't you maintain insurance on the property? That's part of being a homeowner, is maintaining insurance.
Yes, ma'am, I understand.
Why didn't you do that?
Obviously, okay.
All right, again, we
When I
need to
did- but let me
focus
ask her
on,
a
so
question.
let me, just one real quick, okay? Because what's happening is, he came in October and was going to ask for an extension of time to come into compliance. Okay, that's what I read in the file. That hearing was canceled, okay? What I'm still hearing is, it's now November, December, January, and the property is still out of compliance. He's still requesting a continuance, but really what I'm hearing is, he doesn't understand that unfortunately, you're ultimately responsible for the actions taken on your property.
I got that. I got that.
But you don't get it,
I
because...
do, because I pay. I come in every time he tells me that something's on the property. I come take care of it.
Okay.
There's not a time that I haven't, so I got that. I understand it's my fault. But again, you can't allow and say it's my fault when you have illegal dumping and saying it's your fault. You've done that.
Mr. Hamilton, we're not saying that it's your fault.
You're saying I'm responsible
You're
for it.
responsible
It's your
to
job
keep
to
it cleaned up.
keep it
And
clean.
I have.
Sir, listen, you're not, so options for you to try to keep the property in compliance.
Yes, ma'am.
You hire a personal property manager to inspect it every day and clean it up when it's not clean. Fence it if it can be fenced and permitted properly.
I had a fence. They tore it down.
So it doesn't work for you. The county can't, this board, no, listen. This board cannot change anything about the fact that you're ultimately responsible.
I got
And
that.
until the code, it's not in compliance. And he can't close out your case. So you're going to continue to accrue a fine as long as people continue to dump on your property. That's nothing that this
I
board
got
can do.
that, ma'am, I got that.
So what are you asking for
Every time
today?
somebody dumped the property, then I'm out of compliance. Then
Yes,
I'm
sir.
in-
Yes,
I
sir.
got that. But when I go take care of it, say like, I go today, and I go clean it off. But he don't show up till next week or 2 weeks from now, and they're dumping again.
That's correct.
I took care of it. Do you understand?
But you have to constantly take care of it. It's not just one time. It's the same.
Yes, it's not one time, and again.
It's a constant thing. It is
Right.
your job
So-
to maintain that property.
But what is the cop's job? What is the everybody else's job then? If they're, you make.
Why is it the police's job?
I'm not doing the illegal dumping.
Mr. Hamilton, it is a daily responsibility of yours, daily. You either hire somebody to watch it for you every day. If you can't be here yourself, those are your options.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, you may want to consider cleaning it up so you could rent it out to someone who could live there.
Yes, ma'am.
Burned down.
Yes, ma'am.
It's not burned down, it's just damaged.
Yes,
Oh,
ma'am.
I thought it was
Yes, ma'am.
burned down.
And if you heard me before, when I first got on here, I said I had someone to doing that. Then they backed out of it. And ever since I found out that when my father passed away, and like I said, my brother had this property. When I took over, then I started doing everything. I come in again.
I understand.
cleaned up the property.
Sir, we have heard your story, and we understand your perspective on this, but it is not our responsibility to change any of the facts about your job as a property owner. You have to maintain it in good condition per the county ordinance every day.
So if your decision is to not grant him additional time, his fine will continue to accrue until the property comes into compliance. You can deny his request for an extension of time to come into compliance.
So so when I came here in August and July and January to clean the property up, that doesn't count for anything?
It counts, but it's not enough.
But if I don't.
Okay? You have to
Okay.
make a decision. You got to close the hearing.
I'm going to close the public hearing at this point so that our board can address these issues. Any motions? Any thoughts?
Plenty of thoughts.
So before you today is the respondent's request for additional time to come into compliance. His compliant date was October 7th. He came in to make that request at our October meeting that was canceled. So this is basically an extension of time that he's already been granted, 3 months, and he's still out of compliance. So your decision today is there's a fine that's been accruing since October 8th.
Correct.
And that is how much?
I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I mean, I don't have the numbers in front of me. But October 8th, a fine has been accruing.
Okay. So we can waive, his request is to have the fines waived and to have more time. You can deny that or not,
You can do nothing.
or you can do nothing.
And just to kind of help you as you think about things, I mean, what I'm hearing is, unfortunately, it will continue to happen unless he does something more proactive to keep an eye on the property. And it
I'm
is
not enjoying him using Officer Bavaro as his secretary, which is what I hear.
He's using it as a property manager.
Yeah. He's not your property manager.
I didn't say that,
hearing's
ma'am. Ma'am,
done.
y'all got that all wrong. No, I did not
don't
say that.
re-engage.
What I said was he contacts me. and when
Mr.
he
Hamilton,
tells
the
me-
public hearing part is closed for now. We don't need you to repeat what we've heard already. We have enough information. Chair will
What do you
enter,
mean about doing nothing?
you can,
Well, because it came in as a special request, I think you have to address his request, and so you'd have to deny his request or give him additional time to come into compliance, which he hasn't given you any kind of indication that he can come into compliance and stay in compliance.
Right.
I hear he comes into it, but it falls out, and that's what he wants you to fix, and you can't fix that. Unfortunately, that's not something that you can do.
Can I ask a question of Mr. Hamilton? Or is it too late?
Careful.
It's up to the chairperson.
Yes, you may.
Yes. Do you have any plans, Mr. Hamilton, to address this problem on your own?
Yes, yes, sir. Again, when I came in here in June, I came to fix the property up, to renovate it, to have that taken care of, to where someone can be able to live there.
Yeah, but what are we going to do now?
Now, I have someone that's going to meet me out there to tell me if the structure is good, and if the structure is good, I'm going to keep the structure and rebuild. To have someone move in, rent it out. Again,
How are you going to monitor it in the meantime?
before my father passed away, he had
How are you going to monitor it in the meantime?
Before my father passed away, he had Prozac. They were maintaining, and I contacted them and see if they would continue to do so. They told me yes. But the only reason why, to answer your question from earlier, why didn't I maintain the home? Because I didn't have control of it. Again,
No, we're talking about now, from now on,
I'll
if we
take care- I'm
grant you
gonna-
today, starting today on, what's going to change?
Hopefully, I'll get someone in there.
No. Between now and when you get somebody in there, who's going to watch it and clean up the dumping and cut the grass and daily? Who's going to do that for you?
I'll get an agency. I have to.
You have to. Motion to kick it for 30 days and see if he does what he says he's going to do.
Yep, I'll second that.
We have to approve or deny his request first, which is he wants everything waived and
We can,
more time.
we can continue it until the next meeting and see if he does what he just told me he's going to do. And if he doesn't, then I'm going to be 100% pro deny.
So you're going to table the case.
So we're tabling.
Tabling the case.
For a month. So, sir, what I'm saying is
So we don't
you
have to
need to
vote
do
on
what
that,
you just
to
told me
table it?
you're going to do.
Do we have to vote on that?
And when we come back, if you've done it, then we'll seriously consider your request to waive the fees and fines. If you haven't, then the answer is absolutely no, and they'll all stick. It's
right,
now on you to go and get somebody to regularly maintain that problem and get a hold of this problem you have.
Okay, we'll entertain a motion to that effect.
That is my motion, to table it to the next meeting and see if he has regularly maintained the property since then.
Second that.
Right. Any further discussion, any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, the motion passes. Mr. Hamilton, do you understand, we are tabling this, which means we are not taking any action today, and we're putting it 100% on your shoulders to go do what you said you would do.
Next meeting is February 24th, starting.
February 24th is our next meeting here.
Cameras.
All right, so there is no one in chambers. Can we take a break, please?
Yes, let's take a break.
Okay, we'll start up again. Well, what do you say, 3:30?
15 minutes?
Yep, 15 minutes.
15-minute break starting now. Thank you. Mr. Hamilton?
Send it to you, just so that now you could probably just go straight down.
Straight down.
To everybody,
right?
the list, and that way, if we have any questions, the clerk can help
Motion at
us.
the end, right?
You can make a motion at the end.
Okay, we will reconvene the board with case number 1925 CEB. Officer Hurd.
Dorothy Hurd, South Region Code Enforcement Officer for the Seminole County Sheriff's Office. For the record, I'm submitting a copy of this presentation to the clerk as Exhibit 1. This is case 1925 CEB, Horace Mack, property address, it was 1067 William Street, Altamont Springs, Florida. However, now it's a vacant lot. This is a repeat violation of unmaintained vegetation, any weed growth, grass growth, undergrowth, dead or living vegetative matter that is in excess of 8 inches in height. Initial inspection on this property was July 30th, 2018. Code Board ordered February 28th, 2019. Compliance date April 1st, 2019. Repeat violation August 31st, 2021. Several follow-up inspections, my last inspection this morning, and the vegetation remains on the property. This digital image was taken by myself on August 31st, 2021. These images were taken on October 6, 2021, on October 19, 2021, October 26, 2021, January 5th, 2022. Based on the testimony and evidence presented in this case, Horace Mack is the owner of record located at 1067 and 1071 William Street in Seminole County in possession of control of the property and in repeat violation of Seminole County Code, Chapter 95, Section 95.4 is defined 95.3B. I'm asking the board to order that based on the findings and facts, conclusions of law and order issued on February 28, 2019, the Code Enforcement Board issue an order imposing a fine or a lien in the amount of $7,550 from August 31st, 2021 through January 27, 2022 at $50 per day, and that the fine be increased to $100 per day after today's date. Thank you. That concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Officer Hurd. Any questions for the officer?
And could you put that back up on the screen, please? Okay, thank you.
Motion to approve staff recommendation.
We have a motion to approve staff recommendation. Before we get a motion.
Second.
Was there any discussion? No. Second. Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion is approved. Thank you, Officer Hurd. All right. Now we move to 2175 CEB on page 5. Bryce Waters. Officer Bavaro.
Officer Bavaro, Seminole County Sheriff's Office Code Enforcement. For the record, I'll be submitting a copy of the PowerPoint presentation to the clerk as Exhibit 1. Case 2175 CEB Bryce Waters. Property is located at 881 Crows Bluff Lane, violation charge of Seminole County Code, Chapter 95, Section 95.4 is defined in 95.3B, which is uncultivated vegetation. Initial inspection on this case was on 5/8/2021. Notice was issued on 4/20/2021. Compliance date of 5/5/2021. Most recent inspection was this morning, where the property was in compliance at this time. This is some history on this case. I would classify this as a reoccurring violation, not a repeat. There's an uncultivated vegetation violation on June 30th of 2017. It complied on July 25th, 2017. Another one on June 14, 2018, complied on February 1st, 2019. And another one on June 24th, 2020, complied on August 18th, 2020. I've never made contact with the property owner. However, on one of these inspections, I did approach the door, knocked on the door, left a door hanger, observed a white minivan, or light blue minivan in the driveway. As I exited the subdivision, I was at a stop sign typing, most likely a report on my computer, and the vehicle drove past me. There was no intent to stop or anything of that matter. So these images accurately depict the violations on the dates in which they were taken. This one on 4/15 of 2021. This one on 5/7 of 2021. Another image on 10/14 of 2021. 10/26 of 2021. This image was taken by Specialist Henson, and I believe Senior Officer Hill was also present during this inspection. This was a notice posting for the hearing today. There was vegetation had been cut. There's some areas that were still of concern, but again, on my inspection done this morning, the violation had been corrected. So based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 2175 CEB, is determined that the property owner is the owner of record at the property located at 881 Crowsbuff Lane, in possession and control of the property, and was in violation of Seminole County Code, Chapter 95, Section 95.4, as defined in 95.3B, requesting the board issue an order for the owner to refrain from repeating the violation after February 3rd, 2022. In order to do so, they must maintain the vegetation at 8 inches or less, or a fine of $100 a day be imposed. That concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Officer Bavaro. Any questions for the officer? And you say it's in compliance
It is in compliance as of this morning.
this morning?
And I believe, Madam Clerk, there is a Liz Pendants on the property.
Okay. Any discussion? Any
Move
questions?
the officer's recommendation.
We have a motion to accept the officer's recommendation.
Second.
And a second. Any questions? Any further information? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion. There you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Okay. And we've got 3 in a row. Do you want to just do them all at the same time? 2176 CEB, 2177 CEB, and 2178 CEB on pages 6 and 7. Officer Hill.
Officer Hill, Seminole County Sheriff's Office, Code Enforcement East Region. I am submitting a copy of my PowerPoint to the clerk as Exhibit 1. This is case 2176 CEB, Harry D. Billsborough, located at 560 East 2nd Street in Seminole County. Violation charge of Seminole County Code, Chapter 95, Section 95.4, is defined in 95.3E, abandoned vehicle. My initial inspection was April 7th, 2021, with notice to respondent on April 15th and May 20th, 2021. Compliance dates were May 2nd and June 16th, 2021, with follow-up inspections, including yesterday. The results of my inspections, the violation of abandoned vehicle remains on the subject property. These photos were taken on my initial inspection on April 7th, 2021. The arrow is pointing to the weeds are actually growing up through the front of the vehicle. And these photos were taken on May 4th, 2021. And these photos were taken on the same date. These photos were taken on June 23rd, 2021. And these photos were taken on the posting on October 14th, 2021. And these photos were taken on January 26th, 2022, which was yesterday. The bus remains. So based on the testimony and evidence presented in case 2176 EB, it is determined that the respondent, Harry D. Billsborough, is the owner of record located at 560 East 2nd Street in Seminole County, in possession of control of the property, and is in violation of Seminole County Code, Chapter 95, Section 95.4, as defined in 95.3E. It is further recommended the Code Enforcement Board issue an order for the respondent to correct the violation on or before midnight of February 28, 2022. Or correct the violation, the respondent must remove, repair, or replace the abandoned vehicle inside a legally permitted permanent enclosed structure or a legally permitted permanent carport. Respondent does not comply with the order, a fine of $100 a day will be imposed for each day the violation continues or is repeated after compliance. This concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Officer Hill. Next case, 2177.
Officer Hill, Seminole County Sheriff's Office, Code Enforcement East Region. For the record, I'm submitting a copy of my PowerPoint to the clerk as Exhibit 1. This is case 2177 CEB. Respondent Harry D. Billsborough, located at 560 East 2nd Street. Violation charge of Seminole County Code, Chapter 95, Section 95.4, is defined in 95.3B, uncultivated vegetation. My initial inspection was April 7th, 2021, with notice to respondents on April 15th, May 20th, and 6/25/2021. I sent him a last letter informing him that we have tried to make contact with him and to continue to work towards compliance, but this case was going to be filed for a hearing. Compliance dates were May 2nd and June 16th, with follow-up inspections including yesterday. The results of my inspections, the violation of the vegetation remains on the subject property. These photos were taken on my initial inspection on April 7th, 2021. Photos were taken on the same date. These photos were taken on the same date, April 7th, 2021. Same date. Quite a few. These photos were taken June 23rd, 2021. These photos were taken yesterday. There has been some improvement, especially in the front yard, but there is still uncultivated vegetation in the backyard, as well as some along the front and the side of the yard. The suggested recommendation is based on the testimony and evidence presented in case 2177 CEB, determined the respondent Harry D. Billsborough is the owner of record located at 560 East 2nd Street in Seminole County, in possession of the control of the property, and is in violation of Seminole County Code, Chapter 95, Section 95.4, as defined in 95.3B. It's further recommended the Code Enforcement Board issue an order for the respondent to correct the violation on or before midnight of February 28, 2022. In order to correct the violation, the respondent must remove all uncultivated vegetation in excess of 8 inches in height from the subject property. If the respondent does not comply with the order, a fine of $50 will be imposed for each day the violation continues or is repeated after compliance. This concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Officer Hill. We have the next case, 2179.
Officer Hill, Seminole County Sheriff's Office, Code Enforcement, East Region. I am submitting a copy of my PowerPoint to the clerk as Exhibit 1.
Oh, 2178. That was my fault. I didn't put my glasses on. Sorry about that.
This is case 2178. Respondent is Harry D. Billsborough, located at 560 East 2nd Street in Seminole County. Violation charge in Seminole County Code, Chapter 95, Section 95.4 is defined in 95.3A, rubbish. My initial inspection was April 7, 2021, with notice to respondents on April 15th, May 20th, and my last letter to him advising him that it was going to get filed for a hearing on June 25th, with compliance dates of May 2nd and June 16th, with follow-up inspections including yesterday. The results of my inspections, the violation of rubbish remains on the subject property. These photos were taken on April 7th, 2021, with the pile of tree debris and the pallets, again on the same date. There's a water heater on the left. These photos were taken on May 4th, 2021. Same date, the water heater. These were taken on June 23rd, 2021. Pallets, the tree debris still remains. This photo was taken on June 23rd. The water heater still there. Photos were taken October 14th, the day of the posting, and pallets still in the front yard, and the tree debris is behind my postings. These photos were taken yesterday. Suggested recommendations based on the testimony and evidence presented in case 2178 CEB, and is determined that the respondent, Harry D. Billsborough, is the owner of record located at 560 East 2nd Street in Seminole County, in possession or control of the property, and is in violation of Seminole County Code, Chapter 95, Section 95.4, as defined in 95.3A. It's further recommended the Code Enforcement Board issue an order for the respondent to correct the violation on or before midnight of February 28, 2022. In order to correct the violation, the respondent must remove all the rubbish and debris from the subject property. If the respondent does not comply with the order, a fine of $50 will be imposed for each day the violation continues or is repeated after compliance. This concludes my presentation.
Officer Hill, have you been in touch with the property owner?
I have called him and left a voicemail, have not received a response. I have sent that last letter with all my contact information, plus the notices of violations. I have not heard from him. I do understand from the previous code enforcement officer that works my area is that he is an older gentleman and he typically mows when you tell him to do it, but I have not received any response from him.
I see. Thank you. Any questions for Officer Hill?
The motion that we accept staff's recommendation on the subject, all three.
Second.
And so that's a total of $200 a day, right?
Yes, ma'am.
50 and 50 and 100, okay. Do we have a second for that motion?
Yes, I
Yes,
second
second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you, Officer Hill. So now we have 2179. Sorry about that.
Okay.
I do have to put my glasses on. Officer Hurd.
Dorothy Hurd, South Region Code Enforcement Officer for the Seminole County Sheriff's Office. For the record, I'm submitting a copy of this presentation to the clerk as Exhibit 1. This is case 2179, Clifton J. Carter and Lois Carter. Property address is 111 Plymouth Avenue in Altamont Springs. Violation charge is uncultivated vegetation. Initial inspection on this property was made 11/2021. 2 notices to the respondent with compliance dates, several follow-up inspections. My last inspection was this morning, and the uncultivated vegetation remains on the property. This photo was taken by myself on May 11th, 2020, June 2nd, 2021, 10/5/21, 10/18/21, 10/26/21, 1/13/22. That's where I posted it on the 13th. Based on the testimony and evidence presented in this case, Clifton Carter and Lois Carter are the owner of record at the property 111 Plymouth Avenue located in Seminole County, in possession or control of the property and in violation of Seminole County Code, Chapter 95, Section 95.4, as defined in 95.3B. I'm asking the board to order the respondents to correct the violation on or before midnight of February 11th by removing all the uncultivated vegetation in excess of 8 inches in height, or a fine of $50 per day be imposed. Thank you. That concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Have you been in touch with the Carters?
No, he's been here before for code board, but he's not in that house anymore. I think his daughter moved him in with her, and at one point his son, I believe it was his son, living there, but I never see anybody there anymore.
So when you send letters, nobody responds?
No.
Okay. Any questions for Officer Hurd? Okay.
Make a motion to accept the officer's recommendation.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any questions or further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
And the next one is 2180.
Dorothy Hurd, South Region Code Enforcement Officer for the Seminole County Sheriff's Office. For the record, I'm submitting a copy of this presentation to the clerk as Exhibit 1. This is case 2180 CEB, Joe Chavez Jr. The address is 456 East Highland Street in Altamont Springs. The violation charge is basically an inoperable vehicle, any vehicle included but not limited to any parts thereof which are unusable as a form of transportation due to mechanical or structural insufficiencies. Initial inspection was April 27th of 2021. Several notices in compliance day. My last inspection was this morning, and the inoperable vehicles remain on the property. There's 2 vehicles there. There's a Cadillac Escalade, and then there's an older model, maybe a Chevy GTO or something, that one. They have flat tire on them. These photos were taken by myself on June 7th and June 28th of this year, of 2021, October 19th, 2021, October 26th, 2021, January 13th, 2022. That's where I posted the property on the 13th. Based on the evidence and testimony presented in this case, Joe Chavez Jr. is the owner of record at the property located at 456 East Highland Street in Seminole County, in possession or control of the property and in violation of Seminole County Code, Chapter 95, Section 95.4 is defined in 95.3E. I'm asking the board to order the respondent to correct the violation on or before February 11, 2022. In order to correct the violation, the owner must repair and/or remove any vehicle which is unusable as a form of transportation due to mechanical insufficiencies and not located within a legal permitted garage or carport, or a fine of $100 per day be imposed. Thank you. That concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Officer Hurd. Any questions for Officer Hurd?
But I'll make a motion.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we accept the officer's recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Officer Hurd. Yeah. So we will move on to 2185 on page 10. You guys are a tag team today.
So I have a question real quick. Did you guys notice Mr. Hamilton come back in and walk around a little agitated and then leave again?
I saw that.
That
and-
was grip bag.
Yeah, I'm a little nervous and wondering if maybe we can have a sheriff or some kind of law enforcement watch us when we leave.
Well, he also got Officer Bavaro up against the wall back there and sat with him for a while.
I understand, but then he came back.
And then he came back.
Mr. Bavaro is gone.
Uh-huh, yeah.
So,
It's not a bad idea.
Not a bad idea. Do we have that option? Thank you.
And it's got a small red vehicle in the center of the parking lot. Maybe it's gone. We won't have to worry
It
about
has
it.
a Texas tag on it.
He's parked next to you.
Yeah, he was parked next to me.
Okay. Okay, Officer Hill, you can start.
well, we lost
gotta
our
re-
clerk.
Oh, our clerk's gone. She's gone. I thought she was going to do this.
No, she's got to go.
She didn't take
I
it
think you
first, so
can-
that's a good thing.
What do we need that for?
I don't know.
I can do it. Go ahead. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, we can.
All right.
Officer Hill, Seminole County Sheriff's Office, Code Enforcement, East Region. I'm submitting a copy of my PowerPoint to the attorney
For the board.
for the board as Exhibit 1.
Okay.
This is case 2185 CEB, Justin Marlette and Kara Fair, located on a vacant parcel at 1120B Lane in Seminole County. Violation charge, Seminole County Land Development Code, Chapter 30, Part 6, Section 30.102, uses permitted. Occupying a camper and storage on a vacant parcel is not a permitted use in an A5 zoning district. My initial inspection was on March 26, 2021, with notice to respondent on 4/15/2021, which was sent back to me due to there is not a mailbox at this location because it is supposed to be a vacant parcel. So the next two notices I had to post on his property. The compliance dates were April 29th, May 21st, and August 10th, with multiple follow-up inspections, including with some area patrol by alert, and including my last inspection was yesterday. The violation of occupying a camper and storage remains on the subject property. These were some calls for service out at this location. Child Protective Services has been out there, calls for disturbance, welfare and well-being checks done. These photos were taken from property appraiser. Mr. Marlette had purchased the property in March 2021. So this arrow is showing the one on the right. It used to be vacant, no storage, no camper. There is a lot of wetlands on this property. According to the building department, there used to be a mobile home here back in the 80s. But then after that, it was only, let's see, from the print screens from the legacy permitting system that the mobile home was installed in 1988, and then there was a variance applied for and approved for only 5 years. The permit expired as the final electric and final building inspections were not approved, and there was no certificate of occupancy was issued for that mobile home. Since then, there was no demo permit pulled, but the mobile home was removed from the property, and Mr. Marlette did purchase this property as a vacant parcel. These images were taken on my initial inspection on March 26, 2021. And these photos were taken on the same date. He has put up like green screens to hide the violations from the street. The RV and the camper in the previous slide belonged to his ex-girlfriend, Kara Fayer. They share a child together. They used to live out there. Ms. Fayer, when they split up, she took her camper. And so since Mr. Marlett did not have a camper at the time, he set up a tent out there, continued to live out there knowing that it was still a violation, and then brought his own camper out there, which he continues to live in to this day. And if you could go back 1 second, Dorothy. If you take note of this box truck, in the next few minutes, there was some evidence that was sent in. Tiffany from upstairs brought it down to me a few minutes ago, but just keep note of that box truck. Okay, these photos were taken on April 28th, 2021. And these photos were taken on June 25th, 2021, trying to get a view of this stuff on the screen. And these photos were taken on June 25th, 21, still storage on the property. This was something the building department actually handled. That structure has been removed and the washer and dryer is now up against the camper. These photos were taken. This is actually my notice of violation that I had to post since there's no mailbox receptacle, so I had to post my notice of violation on July 29th, 2021. These photos were taken August 18th, 2021. These photos were taken by alert while on patrol on September 3rd, 2021. This photo was taken on my initial posting for the hearing in October 14th, 2021. Photos were taken from my posting on January 14th, 2022. Posting was, and these photos were taken by alert while on patrol on January 23rd, 2022. And this photo was taken yesterday. So I'm going to submit into evidence, Tiffany from upstairs brought Mr. Marlett sent via fax, which I'm going to submit as a second for evidence to the clerk. He is stating that the box truck, so the cab is now missing from this box truck on the property, and now it's just the box part of the vehicle, and he is stating this is the permanent structure. I've had conversations with Mr. Marlett. I told him he cannot store anything or live on a vacant parcel without a primary structure, and he is deeming this part of the box truck his permanent structure. He originally, when this case was first opened, he stated that he was going to get a permit that you can stay in your camper as long as you're building. He was going to drop building plans, submit them to the building department. That was never done. Then the last conversation, one of our conversations, Mr. Marlett wanted to know what the obsession was with his property. I told him this was not an obsession. This was a complaint that came in from a neighbor, and I have to do inspections and try to work towards compliance with you. He has refused to come into compliance. This is my property. I will do what I want. I will hire an attorney. So that was the last conversation that I've had with Mr. Marlett.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I felt something.
it that way.
I know. I thought I felt something on that dead arm.
And that conversation was July 30th was the last conversation that I've had with Mr. Marlett. So based on the testimony and evidence presented in this case, 2185 CB determined that the respondents, Justin Marlett and Kara Fayer, are the owners of record located at 1120 B Lane in Seminole County, in possession or control of the property, and is in violation of Seminole County Land Development Code, Chapter 30, Part 6, Section 30.102, uses unpermitted. It is further recommended the Code Enforcement Board issue an order for the respondent to correct the violation on or before midnight of February 28, 2022. In order to correct the violation, the respondent must remove all storage and the camper from the vacant parcel. If the respondent does not comply with the order, a fine of $100 will be imposed for each day the violation continues or is repeated after compliance. I have tried the last couple of days to contact Ms. Fair. She no longer lives at the property, to inform her of this hearing, and her mailbox is full, and she was not answering her phone. This concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Officer Hill. Any questions for Officer Hill?
Motion to accept staff recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion to accept staff recommendation and a second. Any questions or further information? Okay, so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Officer Hill, there you go.
Thank you, ma'am.
So we have two left for Brian Small. Can we do those together? 21, 90, and 91. On page 10 and 11. Officer Hurd?
Dorothy Hurd, South Region Code Enforcement Officer for the Seminole County Sheriff's Office. For the record, I'm submitting a copy of this presentation to the clerk as Exhibit 1. This is case 2190 CEB Brian M. Small. The property address is 301 East Highland Street in Seminole County. The violation charge is inoperable vehicles. Initial inspection on this property was May 3rd, 2021. Several notices and compliance dates. My last inspection was January 25th, where I met with Mr. Small, and he advised that he still had a couple of vehicles on the property in the back, but he didn't want me to take pictures of them. But I told him what date I was asking for, and he said that should be fine. So the violation remains. This was originally what the original complaint was, and this vehicle had a flat tire. And in the back where the arrow is, there were two or three other vehicles back there. He collects the little, I don't know what they're called, little small cars. I don't know what they are, but they didn't run, and back in the arrow is where they are. This image was taken on the 13th at 2022, where I posted the property. Based on the testimony and evidence presented in this case, 2190 CEB Brian Small is the owner of record, located at 301 East Highland, in possession or control of the property and in violation of Seminole County Code, Chapter 95, Section 95.4, as defined in 95.3E. I'm asking the board of order respondent to correct the violation on or before February 11, 2022, by repairing and or removing any vehicle which is basically unusable as a form of transportation and not within an legally permitted permanent enclosed structure or carport, or a fine of $100 per day be imposed. Now, Mr. Small did say he got rid of one of the vehicles that was back there, and the other he pushed behind his house off to the side where you can't see them, and he didn't want me to take a picture of them. So they're there, and he knows that he needs to contact, that I'll be out on the 14th to check, and if they're not running, then the fine is going to start. But he said I think he's going to have them taken care of by then. So thank you. That concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Officer Hurd. Can we hear 2191 CEB, please?
Dorothy Hurd, South Region Code Enforcement Officer for the Seminole County Sheriff's Office. Did I give you 91? 2? This might be mine. It might be over there. This is case 2191 CEB for Brian M. Small. The initial inspection, the violation address is 301 East Highland Street in Altamont Springs, Florida. Violation charge is basically rubbish, which is useless material no longer fit to be used. Initial inspection on this property was May 3rd, 2021. Several inspections and compliance dates. Last inspection was on the 25th, and the materials remained on the property. This was taken on May 3rd, 2021. May 17th, 2021, it was just some tires. When I met with him on the 8th, his backyard had tires, all types of things, oil, all that different kind of stuff back there. This is when I posted the property on the 13th. And he has made some improvement. He still has some tires and some metal and things that he says he's going to get rid of. And he, as I said, he knows that by the 14th, everything needs to be taken care of. But he did make quite a bit of improvement, as you can see. And even back there on the picture on the, what is that, the left, where the sidewalk is, he moved the vehicles from where they were sitting back here to back behind the house. And he says they're there. It's just that he just didn't want me to take a picture of them, so. But he's done quite a bit of work to get it taken care of. Based on the testimony and evidence presented in this case, Brian Small is the owner of record at 301 East Highland Street in Altamont Springs, in possession or control of the property, and in violation of Seminole County Code, Chapter 95, Section 95.4, 95.3A. I'm asking the board to order respondent to correct the violation on or before February the 11th by removing any useless waste materials or items no longer fit to be used, or a fine of $100 per day being pulled. Thank you. That concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Officer Hurd. Did I hear you say that you feel he's a compliant individual and wants to clean it up?
He says he is. He says February the 14th is enough time for him to get everything done. And he did make a lot of progress, because at first you could see it was just full of stuff. He got one of his boats out, and he got it up and running. Now, he does have another one up under the tarp, but I can't see if there's anything wrong with that one. He's moved the other vehicles somewhere, so I can't see them, but he knows they need to be operable. And he cleaned up that middle portion going right into his fence, and he's got most of it over there on the side. So he's done quite a bit. So I think he'll be okay by the 11th.
Okay.
I'm just going by what he says.
Okay. I trust your instinct. Yeah. Are there any questions for Officer Hurd? Motion.
Make a motion that we accept the officer's recommendation on both of these items.
And a motion and a second. Any questions or further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay. So we have several cases that all say complied prior. Do we need to review those individually?
No, you can look at them. That's just there for your information. The next thing you need to do is go to page 18. Under item 11, you need to approve the minutes.
Right.
Everything else is just there for your information.
We need to have a motion to approve the minutes of December 2nd, 2021.
So moved.
Second.
And a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, there's that. Confirmation date, next meeting, February 10.
I think that's incorrect.
I think that's wrong.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. February 24. All right. Approval of the hearing dates. Do we need to go through the calendar year?
You had a chance to take them home last month, right, and look at all the meeting dates.
Right.
If you look under your tab, calendar, your blue tab, it has the meeting dates of February 24th, March 24th. There's two March 24ths. So it's March, April. So ignore the second one. April 28th, and then we'll skip June. Then July 28th.
So there's not a May date?
Yeah, where's May? We skipped June, but we don't skip May.
Maybe that's supposed to say May 24.
And then we also need a December.
It's December 1st.
Okay. How about we'll make sure and we'll look at this at the next meeting.
Let's do that.
Because then we'll also have the new
Okay.
board member.
Okay.
So we'll look at that at the next meeting.
Okay. Sounds good.
And then you've already done item 14, so if there's nothing else.
There's nothing else. Entertain a motion to adjourn. Right?
Make that motion.
That'll be me. Yeah.
Very good.
Thank you.
All right.